Welcome to Conscious Living, a show for and about intuitives, empaths, and energy workers. In this episode, our guest shares their experience and life journey, giving us insight on how we can navigate our own journey as an awakened human being. So, greetings everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a best-selling author, spiritual life coach, and clear channel for the Angelic Realms. I present you Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, and you can find her work at hearthealer.com. She also has a YouTube channel, and you can find all the details below in the description. So, hello Marcia, thank you for joining us. It's nice to talk to you again after almost a year. How are you doing?
Wonderful to see you and to spend time with you again and to share the angels with you.
Yeah, like that's our main topic for today, on how to connect with the angelic realms, how to realize maybe that you have already been working with the angelic realms, and how can this benefit you in your day-to-day life for protection, healing, assisting you for different aspects of your life journey, basically. So yeah, like we would like to ask Marcia, like how did you come upon this aspect of your life with connecting with angels and realizing that you can communicate and work with the angelic realms? How did this all start for you?
You know, I wish I had this incredible story of, oh, there were lights and the angels came down from the sky and music. But you know, it was really kind of boring. I had been attracted to astrology and the occult and the I Ching, anything that was kind of considered parapsychology in my day. And Uri Geller was bending spoons and Kreskin was doing the ESP. And I found all of that stuff incredibly fascinating. And so I started taking classes like Silva Mind Control. I think that was really the only thing this was like early 20s. I think that was the only thing that was around at that time. So I took all of the Silva Mind Control courses, and we had sort of a meditation group of people who were interested in that. So this was people were sleeping under pyramids, and you know, we made it so mystical. It was so like otherworldly, and I wanted it so badly. And we would go in our laboratories, which were, you would take an elevator in your mind, you would take an elevator down to this place where your laboratory was located. It was like, you know, your inner self. And we would do different healings for people. Just people would give us situations, physical situations that they were suffering from. And we would all go in as a group and offer healing energy. And I remember them always saying, gosh, Marcia, you're so accurate with your diagnosis. This is really incredible. And then I discovered that I could start writing answers. I would just be in my meditative state, although I don't think I called it meditation at that time, but I would be in this meditative state and I would start getting information and I would feel compelled to write it down. And that was kind of how it began. It was sort of like no fanfare, no big lights or music or angels dancing in the bedroom. It was just me kind of playing around because I had this deep interest, and it was kind of Marcia's parlor trick. Nobody took it all that seriously. And certainly we never believed that you could use the angels' assistance in your everyday life. There was this fun time when I would go to these classes and meet in my little meditation circle. And then there was my real life. I was a graduate student in psychology. So I had these two two completely different lives that I was trying to live, the one that I wanted to be and the one that I thought I had to be in order to earn a living.
Yeah, that's how kind of
And
starts for all of us, basically. We have
yeah,
our
so
secret life and our real life.
yes, my secret life just kind of like blew up and disappeared until middle to late 40s, when I was really going through a tough time and I just was willing to try anything. I hadn't done a writing in 20 years, maybe by this point, had kind of even forgotten about any of that interaction. You know, that had been my secret that just never did anything for me. It was just fun. It just made me feel good. So here I am all these years later, and I'm like, oh God, things are just really bad. I think I need some help. So again, you know, I started back down the path of self-help books and read everything I could find in the library, and was again prompted to start writing this information. And this time I took it a little more seriously, and I said, okay, now I can't be a split personality anymore. I've got to understand how I can take this place that feels good and begin applying it to my life so that my life can feel good all the time, not just
Yeah.
that half an hour that I carve out to be in this place. I need these beings with me all the time. And again, this is an evolution. So in the beginning, I thought, okay, well, when I call them, they come and talk to me. So I'll just be a little bit more aware or ask them to hang out with me more often. And I'll start just kind of being more conscious of their presence. And at the time, the place that I was living, the part of the country, nobody really talked about angels. So I used to take long walks where I could talk to them and nobody would think I was weird. So I would take headphones and my phone and act like I was having a conversation with a person so I could talk to my angels. And so I would spend hours and hours just talking with them on my pretend phone and starting to meld the two selves together. And it just became so necessary because my quote unquote real life seemed to be falling further and further into the uh, into the canyon of disaster. So it became more and more imperative for me to meld the two together until I just realized, oh gosh, I can't really separate when they're here and when they're not. I hope that's okay. And then I studied more and I was able to take more classes and just familiarized myself with other people that were doing this. And I realized, oh no, these are like ever-present helpers and they're omnipresent, so they don't need to leave me to go help somebody else.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to feel like a really horrible person because I need them so often. And, you know, what about Mary down the street who needs them too? So then I was like, oh, okay, well, I can have you all the time. And I see these other people are talking with you. So, and I just began to relax into the idea that somebody really cared, number one. Number two, I wasn't crazy. And number three, I could trust this information because unlike the shaming and blaming that I was getting from in my world, this information was loving and kind and supportive and uplifting and provided answers instead of just, oh my God, you did that. You know, so it was like
Be
I had
ashamed
this,
of yourself.
yeah, I had the, oh God, you made another mistake, as opposed to, it's okay, we can show you how to move this forward in a way that will give you the answer that you seek, and will show you how to stop focusing on what's not serving you. Because certainly that was my from childhood training, was you must focus on what you've done wrong so that you can correct it. So none of my attention was on what was right. If I had a goal and I met the goal, it was like,
That's normal.
yes, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But this mistake that I made on the way to getting to the goal is really bad. And that's what I need to focus on. So I was activating the law of attraction to bring me all of these challenges and ways for me to review my mistakes. And I was completely eliminating the opportunity to look at all of the goals that I had reached. So I kept living in this really negative world of you're bad, you are never going to achieve anything, you're worthless. That was the world that I was attracting, because anything I did achieve was just, well, you're supposed to do that and just, get on with it. And so I had just kind of wrapped myself in this place of so much shame that I needed the angels desperately to help me get to a place that felt good enough so that I would want to do anything. You get shamed enough and you're like, why bother? So they kind of led me back onto that place where it didn't hurt so much to be me. The world began to feel better because I was focusing on things that did feel good. But I remember, because I used to have conversations with Mother God, and I remember when she kind of laid down the law and she said, okay, you are done with this. What am I doing wrong? And actually, I used to take a pad and paper into my meditation because I was always worried that I would forget what they were saying and I wouldn't be able to put it into action. So this was still in my trying not to be still focused on what I was doing wrong, trying not to get it wrong. It was my mantra in interacting with them. Rather than just enjoying them, it was always, what if I do it wrong? So I remember sitting down with my pad of paper and I'm saying, okay, Mother, tell me everything I'm doing wrong, because it just doesn't seem to be flowing right.
Mm-hmm.
And she said nothing for probably 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, it makes me cry now. In that 30 seconds, I filled in the blank with, oh my God, I can barely manage my life with the help of all of these angels. I can't hear them. They've abandoned me. They found me worthless. They hate me. They're never going to speak to me again. I knew I would screw it up. I was so far off the cliff in 30 seconds. And then she started to laugh. And I was like, I don't think that's very funny. I don't find that amusing at all. And she said, this is the whole problem. This is what's wrong. You are focused on what's wrong. You're done. You've got to stop that. You cannot look at what's wrong from this point forward if you want to advance spiritually. I said, okay, but I'm sure it's going to be a really bad outcome, because if I don't focus on what's wrong, I'm going to keep making mistakes.
Yeah, it's not safe.
I tell you, within 3 days, my life had completely transformed. I was shaking. I mean, I was like, I told you I would trust you, but this is really scary. What if I really screw it up and then you won't work with me? within 3 days, I was like, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
People are starting to smile at me. My life is starting to really feel good. I feel like I'm more effective with my clients. It's a journey. It's a journey of trust. It's a journey of exploration. It's a journey of not being afraid to make a mistake and understanding that they will be there with you constantly. There's never anything that you can do or say that will hurt them so badly that they run away and never want to speak to you again.
And like, I don't think they would like run away or get hurt, but maybe if you want to get like separate from them or you don't want to work with them, then they will honor that, in my opinion. You can create this experience that you're like, that they're gone, basically. But whenever you can always get them back if you want to.
Yes, I mean, we can say, I don't want to work with you anymore, and they will honor that.
Yes.
But they will never say to us, "Ugh, work with you? Are you kidding?"
You're like, I'm
That's
done
just
with you.
that is our own mental programming. If you are hearing that, if you're working with the angels, that's you, that's not them. And we have to remember that that divine connection that comes with us into the world can never be closed down completely. You can make it infinitesimal, but it will never close down completely. So anytime you realize, oh, I really need their help, you begin opening it. And the more that you trust them, the more that you interact with them, the more that you are willing to acknowledge them, the larger this communication portal becomes and the
Yes.
easier it becomes.
Yeah, like you can like never become separate from the higher realms. You can never be separate from God or source, whatever you want to call it. You can only like create the illusion of that separateness inside of your life, basically. And yeah, like this is where it comes in that you like realize that, yeah, like I already have that connection.
Yes, it's absolutely impossible to disconnect completely. It's just possible to use your free will to say, I don't want to talk to you. But our whole autonomic nervous system runs on that connection. So it cannot be severed.
Yeah, like basically our own life force is coming from source, from God.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if you're
So,
here and you're functioning, you're connected.
and that was something that I was quite surprised because I realized somewhere along the way in my journey that even if you were someone as heinous as Hitler, the love that God has for you is not diminished. They can see that you are confused and that you are making bad choices, but they love you as much as if you are making the choices that Jesus made. And that is really hard to wrap your head around when you're in the physical. But from the God perspective, they see only that beautiful, authentic self that is never corrupted. And they believe in you so much that they believe that you will come to the place where you will be able to make choices that reflect the authentic self instead of the corrupted person that's living in the world. So they never give up on you. They never see you as,
Like irredeemable, maybe.
yeah, they never see this pitiful thing that you believe that you've become. They continue to see you in your fullness as your authentic self. So you never have to go back. You know, sometimes the religious community may make us believe that we've got to come crawling back to God, you know, walk on glass, just shame, feel the shame of, you know, how far you've fallen. That is not necessary at all. That is not even in line with God because they don't see it. They're just so delighted that you've opened the channel, that you can hear them, that you're willing to interact with them, that they just, hooray,
You're back.
yes, you won't have to struggle. We're so glad. Maybe we can show you what we see now, but never, oh, you haven't demeaned yourself enough in our eyes to come back, or you haven't scraped scraped in or apologized enough to be welcomed into the heart of God. In their mind, you've never left. You just don't realize how much they love you. So as soon as you start coming back, they're throwing a party of joy that you will have this beautiful thing that they want you to have, that's never left, has never gone anywhere. You just chose not to see it. So if you are in that position where you feel like you are unworthy of approaching God, please know that that is your own mental
That's the
conditioning.
ego mind, basically.
Yes,
Saying you're that.
that is not coming from God. Those are not the thoughts that the angels have placed in your mind, and that is not appropriate angelic communication. And if you feel that you are interacting with a being that is giving you this kind of information, please disconnect, call
Red
on Archangel
alert.
Michael. Yes, it's not angelic in any way. You're interacting with a lower being and you just got a few crossed wires. Disconnect, ask Archangel Michael to purify your energetic system. Take a breath, recognize you're worthy and God wants to communicate with you, and then try again. But those dark thoughts are not angelic.
Yeah, that's coming from the lower astral, basically the lower 4D. That can be like, I don't know, like maybe disincarnate beings or something similar that are still struggling with those ego mind problems, and basically you're attracting them to you because you're on the same level. Basically, you're still exploring that aspect of yourself. But like exactly when you're receiving something like that, that's definitely not from the higher realms. They're there to uplift you and to support you, not to regurgitate the crap in your own life, basically.
Absolutely. And understand it gets easier the more that you spend time with the angels, the more you are going to change your vibration and make it higher. And then you will be too far, too separated from those lower energies to interact with them. But in the beginning, your level of separation
Yeah,
may
you're
be
getting
really,
both,
really,
kind of, in the
yeah.
beginning.
And you might even start out here. That's okay. When we're in a dark place, our vibration is not high and light. It's low and you're feeling poorly. That's okay. The idea is to continue to do this work so that you're able to raise your vibration. And then these lower people can't, nobody,
They can't touch
they
you,
can only
basically.
stay here and you're not home. You're up here. So there's no interaction and it becomes easier. But that's something that we want to take a look at now, is that everyone has a dominant method of communication. So it's really important to play to your strength and use the way that's easiest for you and not try to imitate someone else. So perhaps your friend is clairaudient and they can hear the angels. That doesn't mean that you'll be able to hear the angels. What you need to do is just get quiet and check in with yourself. When I interact with the energetic realm, do I hear them? Do I feel them? Do I see them? And use whatever of those three feels right to you. That's going to be your strongest, your most dominant sense. And that's the one that will be easiest for you to communicate through. As you get more knowledgeable and you've been doing this longer, all of them will come on board, but the most dominant one will still be the one that is easiest for you to use. But absolutely everyone came in with a source of communication. So there is no one that says, I can't communicate. You may not be able to hear them. Perhaps you may not be able to feel them, or perhaps you can't see them, but you'll be able to do one. One of them will be better than all the others. Start with that. And as you get more relaxed and you've got a bigger channel of communication, all three of them will start being easier to use.
Maybe in the beginning you can like see signs in the physical, or have like interesting synchronicities that happen that are like confirmations that you are having experiences with them. That can be also like a way of interacting with them. Maybe you ask for a specific sign to see something tomorrow, this, or I don't know, like to have 3 feathers on my porch in the morning when I go out. If this is real, then do this, and you will have that sign, maybe, or something similar.
So when I'm out walking, or if I have the windows open, the crows are really helpful. But then I'm out walking and they'll send me flowers and feathers and money, or a license plate.
Yeah, you can see like numbers or like random words that make sense.
Exactly. Or somebody's going by talking on the phone and they'll say something like, I went to the angel. I'm like, oh, the angels need me to tune in. Just in case I'm not in my angel head, they will use other people to communicate. So I want you to keep as broad a communication spectrum as you can. And then as you get your way that works best for you and you're in that mode, then you can focus specifically just on that channel, because you'll make it really clear.
Yeah, like the first way that I started to recognize that I'm working with them was that during my day, the word Uriel was constantly coming to my mind, and I had no clue what that is. Like I heard it somewhere, somehow. I had no clue what that was, and I looked it up. Oh, it's an archangel. And I started to explore it. Then it started to unfold more and more and more and more. This whole
exactly. And depending on where you live, now I happen to live in a place that is very angel friendly, so I can talk about them all the time. But I needed them to help me reconstruct my life in a place where it was, I think she's lost her mind. So, I get to interact very freely with them here and talk about them with pretty much everybody I meet. But, don't make yourself look foolish in your community if that's not accepted, because that's going to make you get that whole old friend shame back again, and you'll want to shut down. So be careful who you are sharing this with.
Yeah, especially if you're in the beginning and you're not still very sure of your connection, it can like discourage you or to.
Oh, yes. And it's a wet blanket on your dreams. So, be careful that if you don't have people that find the angels to be just the most fascinating beings in the world, you get on Facebook or in a community like that. And you're welcome to join my group on Facebook, which is called Healing Hearts. And you get to talk about angels there all day long with people who will not mock you for that belief. But when you're new and you're just exploring, don't take that tender heart of yours and put it out there for somebody to trump on it because they don't believe in angels. And they're going to call you all sorts of shaming and blaming names, like you're psycho, you're stupid,
you're imagining it.
Yeah. Don't do it. Get into a group that will support you and love you. You must be where you are because it's for your highest good. So if you have woken up, if you have stepped into the place where you can honor the energetic realm, then you need to also surround yourself with others who can do the same if you really want to grow. Otherwise, you kind of have to stay small because you won't have anybody to share it with, and it just discourages your growth.
Yeah, but nowadays you have the internet and you can like connect with thousands of
Absolutely.
people.
And
You're not alone.
you are not alone. We found each other through our YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, go on my Facebook group, Healing Hearts. You can talk about it. You can ask me any question in the comments on my YouTube videos. And if it's a long answer that I think would appeal to everyone, I will answer it in a video because the angels love to help you. They love to get this information. They know how much easier your life will be when you form a partnership instead of trying to go solo.
Yeah, or I also like wanted to ask, like, did you find this theme that maybe a specific parts in your life you are more in tune with one of the angels than the others? Or maybe like you become like an embodiment of a specific archangel in a way, that you are assisting people with that energy, just as you told that you are like channeling those specific energies from a specific archangel. Not necessarily verbally, but maybe assisting people with that, maybe protection or healing or
Brilliant.
guidance.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So, first of all, you always know that it's an angelic energy because it's uplifting, kind, supportive, and guiding.
Mm-hmm.
But they will also give you an idea. Now, because I'm clairaudient, I have more familiarity with that, but I have worked with people who are both clairvoyant and clairsentient. So for me, I can tell who is talking based on the vocabulary they choose and the syntax. It is my voice that I am hearing. They don't change voices,
Yeah.
but they will change the
The way
speed
they
at
are
which they
communicating, basically. The way
say it again.
the way they are communicating or the way they are formulating information.
Yes, yes. It's like they choose different words, they choose different sentence styles, they choose different speed of talking, and you just after, this long, and they'll tell me who it is, but after this long, I'm like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
Archangel Michael.
yeah,
He's
you recognize it.
yeah, he is quite, now he wouldn't have to say anything. It's like, but I also, after this many years, they have different presences within my energetic field. So when an energy is present with me, I know who it is depending on how their energy feels within mine. So that's what you would feel if you're clairsentient. And if you are clairvoyant, they also come in colors. So they will send me little blips of colors. If you're extremely clairvoyant, you may be able to see them. I'm only able to see the colors.
Yeah, I
But
only
they
see
each have
colors
their
too.
own, yeah, little bursts of light. They have their own colors, they have their own feeling, they have their own way of speaking, even though it's always my voice that I'm hearing. So I know that's where some people get confused because it is your voice. But if you write down what you are hearing, you will recognize this, first of all, is not the way that you would speak normally. And it's not information that you would necessarily be privy to. It's a better quality of information than you would normally have running through your mind.
Or maybe
Now,
it's
I'm
like
not a
a very
trance
different
medium.
perspective on a topic that you wouldn't have thought of, basically.
Yes, And now I'm not a trance medium, so they can't take like a complicated physics problem and explain it to me like they could. Edgar Casey had information that he was able to input and share that he was not cognizant of. I can only expand on what I already know. So I need a foundational belief. I need to have done some of the heavy lifting first. I need to understand a little bit about it, and they can expand on it then. But they won't take something that is completely alien to me and give me
Yeah, like information about physics or something similar.
right. But I mean, simple physics, like in my thesis, I realized that we could explain the law of attraction with Einstein's theory of relativity, because the theory of relativity says energy and mass are the same, energy and matter are the same things. So thoughts go out via the law of attraction and become mass and are returned to you. So it perfectly proves that theory, and that's simple enough for me to understand. But go any more complicated than that, and they would not be able to get me to explain it in a comprehensive way.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's the difficult stuff, that you kind of get like a
well,
higher understanding of stuff, but if you wanted to convey it to someone, then it's a pretty huge problem because you don't know how, basically.
but while I was writing, I'm writing the thesis, and they're telling me, this is on you. You need to really get. And suddenly, I'm like, oh my gosh, Einstein's theory of relativity. Couldn't even really remember what it was. Had to Google that.
Hmm.
Looked at it and was like, oh my gosh, this completely proves law of attraction. This takes it from an etheric concept and puts it squarely in the science realm. I'm going to put this in my thesis. So in that way, they were willing to help, and they certainly found me plenty of Bible quotes, but they can't take anything more complicated than that. So for me, I got to do the work. I've got to be the student, and then they will help me become the scholar. If the subconscious mind has been allowed to gather information and it has never been cleared of the painful information, it is going to continue to lead you away from the pain, believing that it is helping you. So we got to go in and do, I call it heart clearing. You got to go in and clear the heart of all of the painful memories, the trauma, the negative beliefs, the limiting beliefs, the ancestral programming, the societal programming. All that has to go and be replaced with pristine information from God, which is not going to include any shame or blame or you're bad or any of this other stuff. And it then allows you to become the manifester that you want to be instead of the manifester that you are by default.
Okay, like in closing, like what would you recommend for people that are maybe like just waking up to who they are, or just their realities are being like flipped over right now? Like, what could they hold on to right now in this phase of their journey, maybe? Where could they find help or grounding, basically?
That's an excellent question. You know, they're telling me, even though I don't use a lot of stones, a lot of crystals,
Mhm.
or angel cards, and I'll tell you why I don't in a minute, it is a really good gateway tool to get crystals or angel cards to help you cross the bridge from I can't be in the real world anymore, but I don't know enough about the energetic realm. So the crystals will help you. they'll provide some protection. They can provide some fine tuning for your energetic realm. And I don't know enough about them to give you specifics, but Google does. And the cards can give you some information about what's going on in your subconscious mind. So don't be afraid to use tools that are physical tools when you are first beginning.
Yeah, it's
Now,
easier if you have something tangible in your hands when you're starting out.
yes, we have to remember we are physical beings in a physical body in a physical world, and the energetic realm appears to be invisible, and it's very,
Intangible, basically.
what am I holding on to? Can I hold your hand, angels? Well, sure, but it won't feel like anything. So the stones and the cards will give you something to hold on to. Now, the reason that I don't use them is because I had the direct communication. A friend of mine gave me angel cards, and I thought, oh, they're so beautiful. Won't this be fabulous? Now, I'm already, doing these very comprehensive and extensive writings, but I'm thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a way to communicate with the energetic realm? And so I get these cards, and I'm trying to learn how to do these cards. And I think it's called the Celtic Cross. So I put this all out. I've got the little book there, not using my intuition at all. I'm just completely like, I have to do it right. So I've got the little book, and I turn over all the cards, and I'm like, the first part is completely one way. The second part is completely the other. It's a total contradiction. I got nothing. So I'm like, okay, must have done it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just clear my energy. I'm in this, I'm going to do it right this time. I get my little book out. Maybe I put them down wrong. Get all excited. Mother God, please help me. Then shut off my intuition and just put these cards out. And this time it's like just a complete mishmash. Then I try it again. Still terrible. I'm like, Mother, I don't get it. I'm really mad. I have these beautiful cards and they won't work.
Yeah.
She does the whole thing again. She starts laughing. Are you really? You're going to go through, you have a direct line to us, but you're going to use some cards? You really think we were going to let them work for you? No. So I don't use cards. And stones don't really speak to me as much as they do a little, but again, once you have a well-developed line of communication, you will find that the other things may not communicate with you as clearly, because we like to create crutches. We like to say, the stone will do the work for me. The cards will tell me what I need to do. Mother shut that off quick. She was like, that you will learn and you will apply and you will advance.
But they are more like reflectional tools. They're not doing the work. They're just like reflect stuff that you should be paying attention to, maybe inside of yourself.
Exactly. And what Yogananda said in his book is that he was given an amulet, but as soon as he advanced to the place where he was on the same level as the protection that the amulet was doing for him, it disappeared. So, that his yogi was able to, had the power of allowing things to appear and disappear. And so he was able to use it until he was powerful enough to access the energy. But as soon as it disappeared, because we are not like supposed
obsolete, maybe.
Yes, and they don't want us to substitute.
Yeah, and also like even if I've seen people like using lucky charms and symbols on them without even knowing what the heck it does. And I think they are kind of like obsolete, or they like inert if you don't know how to use it, or you don't empower that specific symbol or crystal with your own energy with your own knowledge, then it kind of doesn't really do anything. It just stuff on you, basically. Decoration, basically, in my opinion.
Exactly. And I have some people have given me some, so I have them here and they're just beautiful and I appreciate them. But I also will say to my clients, in the beginning of your journey, if you are called to crystals, it will be a really powerful helper for you to carry them with you. You're so vulnerable right now. You're coming from such a dark place that you need this protection. But then we sort of have a graduation ceremony and they will either retire it to their altar or give it to someone else that they know who's beginning a journey. And it's a beautiful way because you want to be a completely self-contained unit of power, just like Jesus. You want to be the master and have control over the energy. You don't want to be reliant on anything else.
Like anything external outside of you, basically.
Exactly. It's there to help you along the journey. But, Jesus is my role model because he completely stayed in alignment. There was no, oh, let me go get a stone in order to be able to help you. It was just a contained unit of God force flowing, and thereby was able to do magnificent work in the world.
Yeah, like we have everything that we need inside of us encoded.
Yes, yes. And that just, we need to remember that. And also, I find the more that I work with them, the less that I need things in the world, the less that I need the trappings, because I feel so content with this being. So it's been interesting to watch the evolution. It's like, oh, I got to have this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, huh, what do I need? Nothing.
Yeah, you already have everything.
Yeah, and it's so
Present.
fun and such a lovely place to be right here that I don't need the things that I used to believe were important. Yeah, why don't we, the angels are sending out an invitation to absolutely everyone who is open to call on them, to connect with them, and to depend on them to help you navigate your life. Not because they don't think you're capable, but because they see you as such a beautiful, brilliant being, and they want your life to be magnificent.
Yeah, it's like not giving away your power to something external. It's more like empowering specific aspects of you to be more potent, or to bring in guidance or strengthen something inside of you or something similar.
Yes,
That's kind of how I see it.
yes, because instead of you shrinking, it's you expanding. The you that is you, the you that can make a difference in the world, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more magnificent. And you realize how tiny you were when you were just trying to do it on your own. No matter how wonderful a person you are or how great your intentions, you by yourself are the power of one. You, in partnership with the energetic realm, are the power of infinity.
Yeah.
And you just can't beat the power of infinity.
Yeah, it's everything, basically. Yeah, and through working with them, you can bring down that infinite energy, that infinite power here, and manifest it and assist basically your surroundings and family or whomever it is needing those energies by embodying that higher realm, that higher aspect energy of yourself, basically. Because if, as I see it, also the archangels are like a higher version of us, or we're like a little fractal of that energy here manifested in physical form. And we have the ability to reconnect to that higher aspect of ourselves and bring it in if we need it or if we wanted to. That's kind of our superpower here.
Yes, yes, that's the perfect description. You feel like you have a superpower.
Yeah, our connection to the higher realms.
Well, and you know what's even the most wonderful thing is no one can abuse this superpower. You know, you'll never go power mad or power hungry because it's not that kind of guidance. It enlarges your compassion. It everything comes through the energetic heart center. So you just automatically want to do more good for yourself and others. You don't seek power to seek power. You seek outlets to share because you want to share your compassion, but not because you need to be seen as powerful. So it's a non abusive form of power. It does make you more powerful, but from a compassionate standpoint.
Okay, so thank you for joining us, Marcia, for this beautiful angelic talk. And thank you everyone for being here and listening to our little chat. And see you in the next one. And be well.